Okay, so if you're here, you're probably a big fan of zombies games. And let's be honest, how sick are they? And how cool would it be if we got to go out there and kill some zombies? And if I was in a zombie apocalypse, I'd survive for about 15 minutes. And no, I would not commit self-delete. I'd probably do something stupid like a backflip. Yeah, it wouldn't be the zombies that killed me, it would be my own stupidity. But that's a bit off topic. So when it comes to zombie games, there are many classics that we can think of. And there are too many to list off here. But just to name a few, we have Dead Island, Dying Light, COD Zombies, hell, even Plants vs Zombies. All of these games were fun. But I think there is one game that has done something better than all of these series. And that is Left 4 Dead. And honestly, this is one of the best zombie game series out there. Like, I really think that you need to try this set of games out at least once. Even if you're not a zombies fan. They are just amazing, and really, it's the pinnacle of what games should do when making a zombies game. But Left 4 Dead 2 was the last game in the series for a while, and it had a lot of people wondering, would there be a third game? And after 12 years, something happened. And this something, well, it's the reason we're making this video. So join me in what the hell happened to Left 4 Dead 3. And look, if you could take this opportunity to have a look to see if you're subscribed, it's free and we would all be eternally grateful if you could do it. So thank you guys. Oh, one last thing, there's this new game that I have just tried out called Imperium, and both one of my good mates and the creator of the game have contacted me, and I've decided to give this game a bit of a shout out. No, I'm not getting paid to do this, I'm doing this out of the kindness of my own heart, but the reason I'm doing it is because the game is actually really fun. And if you're a big fan of games like COD Zombies, or just want to get that zombie killing itch out of you, give this game a go. It takes a new style and approach to any kind of zombie game I've ever seen, where you get to be a paladin and use magical powers like lightning and fire to cut through hordes of zombies. So again, if you have a little bit of an itch to play a zombies game that's completely different, go and give Imperium a go now. It's free and the link will be in the description below. Chapter 1, the Left 4 Dead series. So before we can even look at Left 4 Dead 3, we really need to understand its predecessors and if it was even worth the time and effort to make a Left 4 Dead 3. Well, the short answer to that is yes, it definitely was, but hopefully you're watching this video because you want to hear the long answer. Otherwise, there's always someone in the comments going, "Mate, I just saved you 20 minutes, blah 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 blah." Yeah, fuck off. But look, the original Left 4 Dead game was a great game with great characters, maps, weapons, and special infected, with a great way to play with friends, both co-op or versus. But when the second game came out, it turned everything up to 11. More weapons, including melee weapons, so you could smash a zombie's head in with a baseball bat. New attachments, so there were more ways to use weapons in this game, if you were lucky enough to find them. More throwables, like the boomer vial, that were an absolute game changer. New zombies, and this had to be one of the biggest ones, including new common infected that were chapter specific, like the clown zombies or the mudmen. But also all these new special infected, and these new ones looked so cool. Like, look at the charger and the jockey. These things were terrifying to come across. And mixing these up with the old ones, it added so much chaos. Basically everything in the second game was an upgrade on the first game, and we loved it. I do know some people didn't like the new cast of characters, and you're just wrong. Except for Rochelle, she was kind of annoying to listen to. And look, the second game really made the first game redundant, as the only reason you would ever play the first game is for the maps, and for the DLC ending, where Bill dies. Spoiler alert! Ah, shit. I did that in the wrong order, didn't I? Well, at least everyone already knew that, right? But the thing is, they brought all the old maps back in the new game, and they were just better. Left 4 Dead 2 was basically the ultimate Left 4 Dead game, but we haven't even spoken properly about the multiplayer. So as I mentioned earlier, there are two ways to play this game, co-op or multiplayer. Now with co-op, this is just your standard mode where you get to run through the campaign with your friends.
I smell it. I see it.
Yes.
I see the smoker.
Die, bitch!
Did you kill it?
No.
Why is it screaming? Why is it screaming like that? What the fuck?
Die, bitch!
Oh
Die!
shit! And I'm next to him.
Now you're probably wondering why I'm saying this, and it's because it'll be important later in the video. Now, when it comes to multiplayer, I'm talking about versus, and this is where I had the real fun with this game. It was similar as you would run through the campaign as normal, but one team got to be the survivors, and the other team, well, they got to be the infected.
It was Cody.
Yes, no!
Oh my god.
Now, this team of infected would be trying to stop the survivors from reaching the end of the level, and then the roles would reverse, and whatever team was doing better would start the next round as the survivors. So look, I don't know about you, but playing through the levels as a zombies, going after your friends, has to be one of the best experiences you can have. Hell, even hitting randoms with coordinated attacks is an amazing feeling. Now, this all changed when you got to play as the tank. This was either one of the best moments of your life or one of the absolute worst, because one of two things would happen. Either you would wipe out the whole other team because they did not have a plan for you, and even in co-op you needed a plan. But now you didn't just have a goldfish-brained AI trying to do whatever they could. You have an actual player.
Grandpa, I think it's time for a dance again.
Oh my god, All Stars playing. Oh no, he's conquesting it. He's conquesting it.
Or option 2. They throw a Molotov at you, and after 15 seconds you died, and now all your friends are pissed at you for wasting the tank. And they're all saying they could do so much better than you, and yeah, we all know who you are, you dick. The only thing that I'm sad about is that you could never play as the witch. You know what, on second thought, no I'm not, that would have made the fucking hard rain campaign so unfun. But yeah, even the maps were visually appealing on these old games. From all the different layouts to nothing looking the same once you went to a different level on a different chapter. Even hard rain, having to go back through the same areas still felt so different with the added difficulty of the rain obscuring your vision. But look, I don't want to ramble on for too long, as this is all from my memories. I haven't looked back on anything, I'm just using what I remembered from this game because I love it so much. And look, I might have some rose-tinted glasses on, but I don't care. The only thing I did look up was the player counts on Steam, and they are still pulling amazing numbers for a game that'll be 20 years old in 4 years. All that tells me is when you make a game that is actually good, it doesn't die without a fight. But a few years after the release of Left 4 Dead 2, there was a joke that was circling around the community, and that had to be to do with the company Valve and how they were never going to make a third game, as they never do this. And look, after all, they had a point. Team Fortress 2, Half-Life 2, and now Left 4 Dead 2. So it looked like this was going to be the end of it all, and all we had left was the amazing mods the community was making. Yeah, this is a whole other point that would take so long to go through. So, short summary, the mods are absolutely amazing and really helping keep this game alive with everything else mentioned.
Oh, Alice is in a man bikini. Oh.
I remember that.
Damn.
Holy shit!
The Stephen Hawking
Oh,
flashlight is
hold
so
on,
beautiful.
turn around. Turn around, we gotta get this in the video.
Well, I'm not going to see this since you're recording.
Yeah, it's okay, you're gonna add it in the video.
I'm gonna hang myself.
Yeah.
But back on topic, there were rumors that there was actually going to be a Left 4 Dead 3. And these people had claimed to see photos of new special infected zombies that were never going to be added to Left 4 Dead 2. So for 7 or even more years, the community waited to see if these rumors were true, or if they were ever going to be true. Were we ever going to see these zombies? Was anything amazing ever going to happen for this community? And then something amazing happened. A trailer dropped for this new game that had all the aspects of Left 4 Dead, made by the original creators of Left 4 Dead, but it was under a new name. Chapter 2, Back 4 Blood. And this was the game Back 4 Blood. And I can tell you now, the fans were hyped for this. And for good reason. It had been so long since we had a game like this. What was, I don't know, about 12 years, right? That's what I said before earlier, right? 12 years? And the trailer just looked absolutely amazing. The game looked like it was going to be a sellout success. And with the two lead developers also being a major part of the Left 4 Dead team, This had all the ingredients for success. Now look, I'm not going to tell you their names because it would be a waste of breath, as you will find out later. But they announced when this game dropped, it was also going to be on the Game Pass. What means if you had the Game Pass, this game was completely free to play. But if you're an idiot like me and still pre-ordered the game because you were just too excited to play this game and one of those sick camos and character skins. But the day finally arrived. October 12th, 2021. It was here, and when you loaded up the game, it was beautiful. The game looked amazing. Again, with this being the first new thing to anything like Left 4 Dead in ages, it was visually stunning. The open hub world was a breath of fresh air where you could go around and explore, talk to people, and get ready to set up for the next mission. But not only that, you could also select the character that you wanted to play and customize them from here. Now, I haven't played the game in a while, and when I loaded it up to check out my character, I loaded up to something I had never seen before. What the fuck? And yeah, that was weird, but I guess I'll take it. Now, other than the character customization, we also had different abilities for the characters. Now, I'm going to have to leave this a little bit vague for now, as I want to come back to it later. But look, listen to me, it's really important later, as it was a big part of the game. But they had also added all of this gun customization into the game, where you could first of all just put different camos on your gun. And they did something really cool they hadn't done in a game like this before. And that was all of these advanced attachments. Now, they had laser sights in the other games, yes, sure. But this game had suppressors, extended mags, just to name a few. And they even had broken attachments that gave guns a negative when you found some. And some of these guns that were lying around were so cool. And on top of that, they gave you a shooting range to test these guns out in. Guess what?
Oh, yeah.
Hasta la vista. I fucking missed.
Ow.
Damn it. No! And yeah, you could also shoot your friends here. What was cool. Now, this game also had another major feature. What was the card system, where you could essentially make builds so you could play the game and build the way you wanted to play, which would essentially just make the game play different for each player. Now again, I'm going to leave this a little bit vague because there's more I want to say about this later in the video. Ooh, more suspense. But I did quickly want to mention that they did have these cards in multiple different areas, including at the start of every level, and these would be multipliers that would change the game and make it different every time you played. And I'm not gonna lie, it's a fun way to make the game feel fresh. Sometimes you might have a boss spawn on a level that it wouldn't normally spawn in on, or other things like new infected, or even just small things like birds around the map, meaning that you had to be careful where you shot and walk, otherwise a massive horde is coming to touch you like mini lad.
Why are you running?
But this is something that I really liked about the game, and I think it's a really good way to break up the repetitiveness after you've already finished a level before. And they also had these little battle passes that you can complete, and they were all free. You just use the in-game currency that you unlock. They gave you new cards, character outfits, weapon skins, and all these other little things that nobody cared about. So yeah, I don't really want to go on for too long because if you know me, I'm not a fan of battle passes. But outside the hub world, how was this game? Well, it looked amazing. The scenes from the game were sick. The zombies were fun to kill, and watching their bodies get torn apart was beautiful. And with both the day and night missions, they were fun and did well with the lighting, which made the game an enjoyable experience. Now, with this being a new title, they had some new special infected, with none of the old favourites returning, which I think is understandable. Now, these infected were cool, but again, I'm going to come back to this as there was a bit of a problem with this as well. Now, when it comes to the actual levels, there were some absolute classics in this game. And for those players who got to play this game for free, I bet you all remember the jukebox level. Oh, Black Betty, bam-a-dam, oh, Black Betty. No, okay, I better stop. No one's going to want to hear my shitty singing. Yeah.
This is so gonna get copyrighted.
Do what I have to do, bro? I'll have to cut out the game where you can put the Doki Doki music on it. And they also had some cool visuals like the AA gun that you had to shoot to finish off one of the missions. And this game also had massive bosses that were something that we not really seen before in a game like this. And similar to Left 4 Dead, this game had multiplayer co-op and versus multiplayer. So with all of this and the team that they had, what happened? Like, this game had everything that it needed to succeed. So how did it fall off this hard? And how is Left 4 Dead 2 still pulling so many more players than this game ever could dream of having? And I know the joke was originally they don't need Valve to make an amazing game, and that Valve was useless and never making a third game in the series of anything. But as soon as Valve is gone, the players just leave. So why did this happen? And why was Back 4 Blood such a flop? Chapter 3. How did it fail? So when this game came out, it should have been a success like its predecessors, but it wasn't. But how can a game with all this potential fail like this? Like, come on, this game basically had everything that it needed to be a great game. Well, looking back on it, the game really did have some major issues. And you know what? Like every video we do, let's start off with the minor issues and work our way up to the major ones. So, the first thing I want to talk about is something that I never really experienced myself. This actually came from one of my friends telling me this, and I thought that you guys would like to know this, but apparently the game felt clunky. Now, I never noticed this, but he would always tell me how the game always felt worse to play than Left 4 Dead because it just felt so unresponsive and not smooth when playing. Now, again, I never experienced this, so if this was something you experienced, let me know down in the comments. But thank you, Eden. And if you're watching this video, here's your shout out. So what's next on the agenda? Ah, yes, the weapons. So to start with this, there was an amazing variety of weapons that we got in this game, and we love that. But is it just me, or when you shoot the guns on this game, it feels like you're shooting a BB gun? Like, the guns sound like shit and have no recoil. Compare this to Left 4 Dead 2. You pick up an AK and this thing sounds beefy, and you feel like you could run through anything with this and just keep shooting and spraying and kill anything in your path without a second thought. But in this game, it just feels like you're trying to push a wet noodle through a donut, or just any crippled guy trying to have sex. Yeah, cop that mental imagery. But every gun in this game just felt so unreal, and even if they could run you through a horde, it just didn't feel right, just the way these things fired and sound. But that's not the worst part about these weapons. Now, I mentioned earlier about the attachments that they added to this game and how it was so cool, and I still agree with this statement to this day. But why can't I take these attachments off? Like, literally, they are stuck to the gun. So if you find an attachment for a gun on the ground, and as soon as you pick it up, it is there forever. So you better find a good shiny suppressor and keep it in your pocket, because if you find a better gun, well, guess what? You're fucked. And this goes for sights, mags, anything. The only way to get these things off your gun is to find another attachment to remove the old one. What is really annoying, but that's not my real issue with this. No. That would be too simple. I swear, whenever I find a gun on the ground, it has the shittiest attachments known to man on it. Okay, what the fuck is this?
Oh my god, bro.
Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck?
Like, for example, are we running around and there's an awesome SMG, and guess what's on it? A fucking sniper scope. So now, the thing is just useless, unable to be used in combat unless the zombies are 50 feet away. And if they're any closer, you're looking right up the thing's fucking urethra. And shotguns as well. Why is it always a sniper scope on these things? Why? I don't need these things to be dead on accurate from range. But at least I can hip fire a shotgun, I guess. But realistically, who the fuck is putting these scopes on guns anyway? Like, these are being found in the wild, so someone has to have done this. So who the fuck is doing this? And why is it so fucking annoying? Especially since we can't take these things off. Well, I guess that answers my question why it's so annoying, doesn't it? And even worse than that, when you're quickly trying to loot and you're rummaging around the battlefield for new things and you accidentally chuck one of these attachments on your gun, now it's stuck there. Like, fuck! And the box in the safe room. It always has a good gun to buy there, but it always has these goddamn attachments there too that make the gun useless. So you're questioning it, should I get the gun? and have these shitty attachments stuck on it? Or should I just stick around with the shitty pistol and hope I don't die? But hey, at least with the shitty starting pistol, at least I know it doesn't have some dumbass attachment on it that's going to get me killed. But hey, back to the purchase box in the safe room. What the fuck is that? Why in a zombie apocalypse do I need to pay this box to get their guns? Like, no one's watching it and the guns are already there. Like, why would they do this stupid paid thing? If I already have a gun or an axe, why don't I just break the fucking box to get into it? I mean, it's a bit of an immersion ruiner, and not in the good fun way. Like, Left 4 Dead 2 had spawn room guns that were just there for the taking. Why is it different in this game? Now, yes, I know there are some spawn room guns, but why are always the spawn room guns so shit? Like, the box guns are clearly the better ones, unless you're doing like the final mission of the game where they just give you a bunch of good weapons. But I don't know, it's me just being picky, so yeah, I don't like it. But before I ramble too much about the weapons in the box, I think we need to talk about the characters, and oh my god, what the fuck are they doing here? How have they fucked this up so much? So let's get started with the abilities that they have now. Now, this is a fun idea to have, but this will only lead to one thing. And that's the same 4 characters always getting picked in the entire game, with the other characters all being left out. Now, look, I don't want to shit on this too hard, as I actually like the idea of this and thought it was a bit of fun, but there were definitely flaws with it, so I have to be fair, I have to put it here, as it really was a problem with the game, just being stuck with the same couple characters when there was such a diverse cast of characters. Well, that's what they want you to think. The characters in this game quite literally sucked. That's the best way to put it there. All the shit that they say, no one gives a fuck about it. Whether they live or die, realistically, no one cares about these characters. The only character I can actually remember is Hoffman, because he's the fat accountant that gave you bullets as his ability. And that really is the only thing I know about him. The dialogue between him and every other character in this game is absolutely shit. Like, I couldn't care less about it, and I know nothing about any of their backstories. Where in Left 4 Dead games, even with there being only 4 characters to play from, we love them. All of these felt real. These characters were amazing, and this all happened in one game. And I know people are going to be saying, like, you know, sometimes it takes multiple games. How did these guys do it in one game then? And look, whether it be 1 or 2, you can probably remember these characters by name and even some of their backstory after all these years of not seeing them. And that's because these characters had such a good personality about them, and it made us care about them. These new characters just have none of that about them. They're all just copy and paste with nothing really special about them besides what their abilities do. What makes them unusable depending on if their ability was just straight up bad. And look, with so many characters not getting used, this ends up removing so much dialogue from the game that you will never hear because no one wants to play these so-called underwhelming characters. So really, there's no way to learn about these characters properly, even if they were interesting. Now, cards. So you could find these and purchase them in your runs, but we've already spoken about buying things with the other topic, so let's just focus on the deck building and how you get them. So this game had a whole deck building idea about it, where you could change the way that you played the game based on the cards that you put in your deck, and this was a cool idea, but it was executed horribly. Now, if you had a good build, this made the game very easy, but if you had a shit build or not many cards, the game became quite difficult and not in the fun way. So if you're unlucky not to have all the cards that you wanted, you would find the game very difficult to complete, especially the last boss. Now, I played this game with a friend, and I like to think that we're pretty good at this game, but, you know, we struggled a hell of a lot with this. Now, maybe we should just get good, but this game, I believe, was just on the normal difficulty, and I have played games like Left 4 Dead 2 on its hardest difficulty. So when I see some kid who grinded this game and has all the cards for their build and just dominates, it makes me think, like, how the fuck does this work? And it shows me that the cards really control this game. Now look, realistically, this is okay. It's fine to have absolutely amazing decks that are gonna make people broken. It's gonna happen when you do stuff like this. But how do you actually acquire these cards? Well, it's what I spoke about earlier, and it's that fucking battle pass. So if you want to try and get some cards, you have to go through the battle pass. Now, this probably sounds okay until you realize that you don't know where the cards are. So basically you have to go through these trees and hope the next one has the card that you want. Otherwise, you're just shit out of luck. So the only way that you can get these cards is by hopefully finding the right tree that has the card that you wanted by completing a tree ahead of it without knowing what comes after it. Now, to my knowledge, you can't craft these cards, and this is the only way to get them. And look, this might have changed, but oh my god. After finishing this game, I was still missing so many cards, and look, I have beaten this game multiple times. It just makes for a really unenjoyable time to have to grind for all this shit when you don't know how long you're gonna have to grind for because you can't see the tree that you'll have to go for the thing you want. And this could have been done so well, but it's a terrible inclusion in the game that just makes it so unfun to have to try and make all of this shit work when all you want to do is just kill zombies. Talking about the zombies, the special infected in this game, when you first see them, they look super cool. And like the original Left 4 Dead game, there's 3 special infected that we commonly see. Now, there's nothing wrong with this. The original Left 4 game done this with success and was an absolute masterpiece of a game. But they did something with this game that rubs me the wrong way. A little bit like how a priest rubs an altar boy. So they decided instead of spending the time to make more special infected, they would make variants of these guys. Now, it can be cool, but the issue is most of them look too fucking similar to tell them apart at first glance. So you run at something that you should have run away from, getting yourself killed. And yes, you can call it a skill issue, but it doesn't mean that it was done well. The fact that you can't tell what these guys are like until it's too late is a major issue. Like, look at Left 4 Dead 2. It has double the amount of special infected, and you can tell what they are before you even get close to them based on their sound cues. Now, this makes sense because of them being actually different, special infected, and not just variants. So when it's a tall boy, you really can't tell what kind of tall boy it is until it either grabs you or it does a wham bam attack, and that's kind of fucking shit, I'm not gonna lie. And there's another game that got a lot of shit for having variants, and do you know what that game was? Mortal Kombat X. And it was for the exact same reason as this. Why were they wasting time making variants for characters when they could be adding different and new exciting characters to explore? Now, just for the record, Mortal Kombat X became an amazing game, but when it first came out, it copped a lot of shit for this. And on a side note, why did a special infected have armor? Like, why is it a thing? I think it's a little weird, especially in Versus, what has to be one of the biggest downfalls in zombie games that I have ever seen. So, let me paint the picture for you. You hop onto Left 4 Dead and you play the Versus mode, where your squad takes on another squad to see who can finish the level with more people alive as the enemies try to kill you as the zombies. This was honestly a good time to be alive and a massive part of my childhood, and maybe I have some rose-tinted glasses I said earlier when it comes to this, but even to this day, it's still really fun. The only negative I can find to this is that it can actually take quite a bit of time to finish. But look, if you're not a brain-dead Gen Alpha who likes Skibbity Toilet, you will be fine, honestly. But with this game, you don't run through levels. You get locked to a small area where you can't leave with some supplies, and you have to kill hordes of zombies and other players before eventually a Fortnite ring spawns in, and you have to try and survive without going outside this ring because the ring does damage, just like in Fortnite. So essentially, you can't survive this, and you just gotta play to see who survives for the longest, or until the ring completely closes on you, and yeah, that's really about it. And after about 2 games of this, it just gets really boring. unlike Left 4 Dead, what is still fun to play till this day. Now, they also brought the cards back for this game mode, what are a little bit different, but still not great. And they added zombie upgrades, what I don't actually mind. But why should I care about it when the mode is so shit that it's not even really that fun to play? So even with this awesome zombie upgrade where you can upgrade the hordes or the different special infected as a team, why would I even care? The game mode is just shit. Like, honestly, I would rather watch Chandler from Friends try to swim in a hot tub than play this game mode. Okay, dark joke done for the video. Now I can go back to being more serious. They have quite literally taken the heart and soul out of the versus mode with this game. It's just such a disgrace to see this. It's so lifeless compared to the older games. And since this was my favorite way to play these types of games, it really did kill it for me. Oh, and before I forget, 2 more things. 1, they removed couch co-op from this game, so that was a fucking dumb thing to do. And secondly, you can't progress in this game and get currency for the battle passes unless you play online. What means you can't just play with bots. You need at least one other player to actually progress through this game properly. That is so shit. Why would they do this? So now, if you try to find the game of this, good luck. I tried and could not find anything. I am just lucky I had someone to play this with, and if you don't have someone to play this game with, then the game really is dead. Wow, I never thought I would say this for a game that most people can play for free on the Game Pass. So, Left 4 Dead 3, something that had been seen as a myth and was never going to come to our faces, but secretly, it was already here. Now, I know most of you remember this game, but I think a lot of people still do hold out for a Left 4 Dead 3. But this is it, especially since there was a team behind it who mostly worked with the Left 4 Dead games. Now look, is Back 4 Blood a bad game? Well, if you compare it to Left 4 Dead 2, especially, then yes, it's atrocious. It basically took all the soul out of the game and just made it look pretty. And I hate when development teams do that, but if we look at the game by itself, it's okay at best. Like, it's fun. You can enjoy yourself on this game, especially with friends. But really, you can say about most games these days. The story is pretty bland, the characters are boring, with a terrible multiplayer system that took out all of the fun of this game. But by the looks of it, the game is slowly improving over the years. But it still doesn't have a massive community. And look, coming from Australia, if you don't have a squad to play with, it's going to be hard to find a game of this, even with crossplay enabled. And the lack of couch co-op is a disgrace. But if you just want to have some fun, zombie killing action with modern graphics, well, this game will probably satisfy you. It has all the pieces to make a great, fun experience. And going back with my mate to get footage for this game, it was actually a bit of fun. Nothing spectacular, but it was a good laugh.
What was that red thing?
But if you really want to have a good time playing a zombies game, just play Left 4 Dead 2. It's better in every way. Yes, it might look a bit old, but who cares? It's the best game out there at the moment for this kind of zombie action. And it's a fraction of the price. And look, if you're on PC, you can fill the game with mods. And well, if you've ever been on the internet for any length of time, you know how much fun mods add to the experience of an already amazing game. So my recommendation, if you have Back 4 Blood and you have Game Pass, give it a go. If you have a few mates who are willing to play it with you, of course. Otherwise, just play Left 4 Dead 2 with your mates. Like, come on, it's a simple and easy answer. The game just smashes it out of the park even after all of these years. So, yeah. Thank you for making it this far into the video. And I really do appreciate you for listening to me, and hopefully it was worth your time. And I really hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, hit that subscribe button, as we are trying to get to 1,000 subs as soon as possible. And we would love to have you guys join us on this journey to make that milestone. So be an absolute legend by subbing and liking the video. And we also have a Discord server where you can talk with us and even get a little sneak peek into what the next video coming is. So why not come and join? Link in the description below. But that's it for now. And that's what the hell happened to Let the Dead Free.
Hey,
I can
Grandpa,
kick it.
let's do it together.
Yay! That
3,
was
2,
really
1, let's
underwhelming.
go.